I ain't got a talent. I want to introduce my guest today. Please give it up for Rryuhn.
Yeah, appreciate you having me, cuz. Let's do it, man. Let's do it.
I ain't got a talent. We talk about gifts, we talk about talents. Obviously, your gift is art, making art, among other things. I'm sure. So let's talk about that.
Yeah, we could dive in any and all ways. Yeah, I've been doing art and creating for as long as I can understand what it was. You know, for the most part, it was always just like a space that I could get to, or I can kind of control time. It's just something I can just keep myself occupied with, amongst other things.
When did you notice, like, you had this gift?
That's interesting. I mean, when you coming up as a kid, I think we all go through phases where we have a creative phase. Whether that means, we finding different styles that complement us, or whether, we're finding creative ways of interacting with other people and one another. Or, it's that phase where we're all drawing cartoon characters and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Muscle Man, Sonic the Hedgehog,
right.
whoever you were into at that point.
Right.
I was just that was one of the first things I think I received, like, praise for as a kid, especially in school, because I wasn't a good student, you know what I'm saying?
Right. Firecrackers.
Yeah, I was all over the place, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, I think it was probably like kindergarten or something like that, and we had to read a story, and following the story, we had to create an image based off of it. And me being me, like I said, I was always distracting other students, or, it just wasn't really sitting still. So I managed to sit down and do that, and I can't even remember what I drew. I think I drew like a underwater scene or something like that with crayons. My teacher was just like, "Oh my goodness!"
Right.
And I guess like to film it from that praise or that affirmation from her. Made me feel like I did something right.
Yeah, right.
In the midst of me being a young kid, being always confused or distracted, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But to answer your question specifically, I think I started taking it seriously, and I noticed that it was something that I can apply to my life. I still say in elementary, but it was a few years later when I was probably like 4th grade, maybe 5th grade or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, I had a friend, Robert Lee, shout out Robert Hoover Lee, you know what I'm saying? My guy from back when, he was a grade above me, and, he drew in class all the time, just kind of like me. And, when I was drawing in class, I was literally just drawing the majority of the time. Like I said, I wasn't a good student.
Right. You had your notebooks, and you just draw with the book up like this, probably.
Yep. So exactly. Trying to hide it. So my other students would see, or my other classmates would see me drawing stuff. I'm like, "Man, you do that? That's cool. You know Robert." Like, I'm like, "Nah." And then I got introduced to him. We ain't had none of the same classes. And we just started kind of drawing together. And the next thing I know, we started piecing together a comic book. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, like on our own.
Wow.
And then we had some people who was with it, rocking with it, but it didn't even matter at that point because we were like so invested in the idea of creating something together.
Yeah.
And at that age so young, like, you don't understand like the magnitude of something like that.
Yeah, that's big. Y'all basically, like, I think of like rappers collabing on an album like that. Like, y'all collabed at an early age.
Yeah.
Wow. And then a comic book at that.
Yep. And that's, I mean, that definitely takes two counterparts, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think right around then is one of the first phases of when I wanted to push forward with it, and I knew that it was something that I can do, wholeheartedly, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man, that's amazing. Wow. That's something how you talked about your teacher somebody that, was an authority figure, and they, they're teaching you and they gave you that praise.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, man.
Yeah. And that wasn't the first instance, too.
Right.
It happened, I feel like that happened almost, quarterly until I got to where, I knew that I was going to do something art related as a career at one point.
Yeah. I remember the first time I noticed, that you was good at drawing, that you had that gift, is I had to be 6, 7 years old, because we used to have contests. Mm-hmm. I remember it one time. One time specifically, we drew some shoes. I remember. I don't know if they was Nikes or what, but they was shoes. I remember that. Mm-hmm. And we was having the contest of who can draw the best. Mm-hmm. Man, it wasn't no contest, man. Yeah, I didn't know it was Rryuhn The Artist at that time.
Yo, hey, that's crazy. You mentioned the art contest. We used to have those all the time. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we was pretty active with those. Yeah. Yeah, and I definitely say drawing shoes and stuff too.
Yeah. Because I remember that I had to be 4th grade or so. So let's talk a little bit about your creative process.
Okay. For me, it took a while to understand what it took to actually start and finish something, right? And as an artist, you always want to move about a project or, a commission, anything like that. You want to move about it strategically, because most of the time you might be on, sometimes you on a time schedule. Yeah. Sometimes you got a deadline. And sometimes, if you're doing something for yourself, you have to limit the amount of time that you give it, given the fact that, life goes on. We all got stuff going on outside of that. Yeah. But in that sense, if I'm doing something as far as a portrait, or if I'm doing something more elaborate, something very specific, I like to do research.
Okay.
Most of the time, if somebody reaches out to me, if they had a loved one that passed and they wanted to get a portrait done of them, or if they wanted a picture of their dog or something, I need just specific amounts of information. I don't give them a whole comb through. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I'm not getting the whole backstory of everything, but it's good to have specific information about specific people, because if I want to capture the essence of the person, it's always good to understand specific things about them.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm just literally copying a photograph.
Okay. Yeah.
So sometimes it's always good to understand a little bit about the person, especially if it means something to your client too. I just think it makes for a more personable experience. So I like to do a little research, and then I do a series of thumbnails. Okay. Depending on if the client has a specific idea in mind, I'll do fewer thumbnails. But if they know, or if they just I just want this replicate of a photograph, then that's easy for me. I just do that straight up. But most of the time, I do some thumbnails just so I can kind of figure out what exactly I want to do before I get started.
Yeah. And when you say thumbnails, can you explain that?
Oh, thumbnails, that's basically rough sketches. Almost if you were writing a paper and you did a rough draft.
Okay.
Or if you were taking notes before you started your paper.
Okay.
And figuring out the order of how you wanted to write or approach it. Essentially, those are thumbnails.
Okay.
So I take a copy of the image, or I'll take an idea of what I think the image should look like, and I'll give different versions of it. Because sometimes, you get clients who don't know specifically what they want. They just know that they want something involving the subject.
Okay.
So I go about it that way, and then from the thumbnails, they get to choose which one works for them, and obviously they work for me.
Yeah. Okay. So I know you mentioned somebody wants to get a picture drawn of a person or their dog or something like that. Mm-hmm. Is there a specific thing or that you specialize in, or is it kind of variety? What kind of things do you draw or create?
I find that with realism or hyper-realism, which is basically like photorealistic imagery.
Okay.
I find that stuff to be more, that type of art specifically, to be more not only challenging, but it allows both sides of my mind to work. You know what I'm saying? My left brain and my right.
Right.
Because there's so many different shapes. When you actually looking into something that, you know, has very specific details in it, there's so many shapes and so many fine little intricate pieces of it that all compose it to give it one area of a shape or more one definitive shape, if that makes sense. Like, for instance, people like to draw eyes all the time. And just the eye, because it's about what you see in the eye more so than the eye itself. But if everything is very general specific around it, then it'll just be more realistic in general. You can put almost any reflection inside the eye, but if the eye around it itself, like the eyelashes, the lid, and all that stuff is looking like photorealistic, you can pretty much plug and play with that. But I figure like it's more of a puzzle for me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's how I look at things like that. Like almost the more detailed, the more challenging it is, the more I have to focus into it, the more I have to challenge myself to replicate these small, very intricate shapes. And I didn't always look at it that way either because, you know, I started off drawing cartoons, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it took a lot of practice, actually, you know. Big shout out to moms, you know what I'm saying?
Right. Shout out Aint Shauna.
Yeah, shout out Shauna. She got me really tapped into all that. If I can pick a specific genre of art which I create, it'd be hyper-realism. And then I like illustrative stuff too.
Okay.
So I get to play with the line weight and stuff like that too. And you know, it's more of a creative process than just replicating a hyper-realistic photo too sometimes. So I pick those two.
That's cool. I know you mentioned working with Robert when you were younger. Is there any other people that you want to collab with maybe in the future, or you want to collab on something? I know you probably collabed, you know, in different projects over the years too. Is there anybody you think you want to collab with? Or
right now, it's interesting you say that because right now, like, I've done mural projects through companies or foundations rather, and they pair you with people sometimes. And I collaborated with a Hispanic artist, really popular around the Grand Rapids area. His name is Arturo Romero.
Okay.
We just did a mural project together this last summer with the 49507 project. Big shout out to them for the opportunity. And it was cool, but also too, like, I'm pretty specific when it comes down to some stuff.
Yeah.
Especially, you know, if I could control, you know, the dynamic of it, it's always important for me to have balance with whomever is involved with it. So right now, I've just been kind of focusing on like just honing in on ideas that I had previously.
Yeah.
But if I could pick some people to work with, my homie George Eberhardt, big mural giant around here. That's my man's. He's really good. Been doing stuff for a while. He teaches at WMCAT.
Okay.
There's a couple other guys too. A guy named Caleb. I think his name, I can't remember his last name right now. But Caleb, big shout out to Caleb. He had Premiere. My homie Jamal Easttown J. He's always in my ear and he's always hit me up, sending me stuff about collaboration T-shirts and designs and stuff like that. And then the whole Art Workers Union. Big shout out to them too. My homie Blake, Big John, Kaylee, you know what I'm saying? Jeffrey B. I've been involved with them for a while, and I think I'd say semi-annually, we usually have like a show or two.
Yeah.
And that's our way of collaborating together.
Oh, that's cool.
So I always look forward to that.
Grand Rapids is a place where a lot of people like art around here. You can see it around the city, different buildings and different sculptures. That got to be a great thing for somebody that's making art.
Yeah, and one thing that I had to notice and realize about it too is like where we're from initially, right?
Yeah.
That's not really the case.
Nah, right.
You know
Nah, you don't have to see any art. They just now starting to do a little couple things. I see.
Yeah, so coming over here was huge for that growth as me as an artist too, because not only that, there's so many colleges here that actually cater to it too. It's not just
That's
Kendall.
right. Yeah.
So, and then with it being more of a college town, you always have youth in and out.
Mm.
And nowadays, I think Grand Rapids is trying to cater to that demographic a little bit more.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they do a lot of different things.
What kind of skills must you have to be an artist, or what from your perspective, what do you need? If you tell a young kid you need this, or is it just open? Maybe they have their own different skills.
I mean, I think it's a little bit of both. Like, to start, I mean, for me, I didn't even understand that I was using art as a form of therapy. It wasn't very cerebral. I was just naturally doing it.
Yeah.
And I guess, in a sense, subconsciously, I was working through stuff with it too.
Mm-hmm.
But to answer it correctly, when you're young, you're just kind of doing it and building up the habits of interest.
Mm-hmm.
And it's almost like when, if you're planting a seed, right? You got to water it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You got to have it sunlight. It has to have a support system somewhat, and it has to have some consistency in order to blossom.
Yeah.
As I said before, big shout out to my mom because she saw it in me.
Right.
And she just put the right people in my path. You know what I'm saying? And she linked me with the right people at the right times as far as allowing me to feel confident enough to go with it.
Yeah.
So having said that, confidence is definitely something that you have to have in it. You got to have grace with yourself because everything you make ain't going to be a masterpiece.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
You might be getting practice.
Right. And I mean, there's only so much you're going to be able to learn within a short time span. So I say that, some focus.
Okay.
And practicing accuracy. You know what I'm saying? If that's something that you plan on doing. But as far as it being a natural thing, I think that most people can do it. It's just different levels to it. Like, you literally have to invest yourself in specific ways to get to a specific level with it. Just like if you playing sports or you know what I'm saying, if you bodybuilding or anything like that.
Right, yeah.
Or if you in the chess, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The more you play, the more challenging you get, or challenged you get at it, the more challenges you accept, the more you challenge yourself and you'll force your brain to work in different ways.
That's good. And you said something about your mom, noticing that in you, man. Shout out to our parents. Parents are one of the first people to really notice our gifts, to see our gifts, and they have that front row seat.
Right.
You know what I mean? To see. So they really should be one of the first ones, or if not the first one. And then you got teachers as well, because we spend a lot of time at school. Like you said, shout out to your teacher too. But parents, that's important. That's an important thing to pay attention to our kids and help develop them gifts that we see.
Yeah. And given the fact that, at the time she was a single parent, with three of us.
Right.
It could have been a lot of things on her mind.
Right.
She could have been distracted with anything else, at that point. But the fact that, she needed to raise a man at one point, with limited resources. I think that it was God sent that she focused on things that I was applying my focus to.
Yeah, that deserves applause. Yeah.
Big shout out, Shonda.
Yeah. So can you talk a little bit about how you've seen your gift evolve? I know you you mentioned it, but kind of talk on that a little bit. How have you seen it evolve from when you first started and just over the years so far?
Yeah, so like I said, I started off drawing simpler things and just I've always been a visual person, first and foremost. Yeah. Like if I can see it in a specific way and I can understand it, I can apply it to myself. Just like always find myself learning more quickly if I have something to compare it to. Like, I'm a comparison person.
Yeah.
Like, if I can compare, I don't know, tying my shoes to, I don't know, anything applicable to that, or I always find some sort of medium where I have to translate something that I have experience with into something else.
Okay.
So with art specifically, I started off drawing simpler things, cartoons, shoes, just things that I was interested in. And then more so, my interest started to grow into different figures. Like, so it went from Sonic the Hedgehog and those type of people to, like, I started watching anime or Dragon Ball Z back in the day.
Yeah.
And then, like, the whole physique of what I was drawing changed. So now I went from drawing fictional characters to drawing people with actual human anatomy. You know what I'm saying? People with muscles, eyebrows.
Right.
All these different little things. And
more detail.
Yeah. And I think that was what really pushed it further with me, is because I started focusing on proportions, you know what I'm saying? Like, are the arms longer than the feet, or the legs, you know what I'm saying? And all that different thing.
Wow.
And things wouldn't actually turn out right if, they weren't, accurate or whatever.
Yeah.
So it started off doing that, and then from Dragon Ball Z stuff, I started drawing basketball players. You know what I'm saying? And then it just kind of kept evolving to, more challenging and more specific subject matters. You know what I'm saying? And then figures too. Because, like I said, once my mom was able to see that was something I was excelling in, she just, like I said, kept implementing and suggesting that, I work with specific people. And sometimes it wasn't even a decision that I made for myself.
Yeah. Hey, it be like that sometimes.
Yeah, and to be honest, I was soaking it in and I was sponging so much. I ain't never have a debate about it. I was willing to go to any kind of art class, or meet with anybody at that point. So, it just kind of kept slowly rolling into more specific figures and more specific details. And then sure enough, I started painting. And then that's when things started to change, because you go from like a hard surface and a hard utensil, you know what I'm saying, or a vessel, to something that's softer and requires a different touch. And something that has a brush, which you have to be able to control, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, it was just fine tuning, like literally from like the ground up, bit by bit and chunk by chunk. But I also spent a lot of time by myself doing it too. So I just felt like, just like with anybody who practices an instrument, you know what I'm saying? Or, practices karate or something like that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Once you start internalizing it and you actually hone in on it, and you make it your lifestyle, and you kind of shape your life around it, then it becomes something that you accept in all and every forms. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's good. Wow. I'm thinking about, like you said, from drawing something, a hard surface with a hard pencil, and then you go to painting. You know what I mean? When I see that, that's a leap.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. There's a loss of control in there, you know what I'm saying? That's why I said too, because that you have to have grace and you gotta have patience with yourself at them times, because you can lose, confidence if things aren't going well for you at that point.
Especially if you change the way that you do art, like
the way you approach it. Yeah. Especially for somebody who has a process most of the time. I used to know a guy who could only draw from the right side, or everybody who he drew was looking from the right side. He couldn't draw anybody looking the other way, just because he was just comfortable holding the pencil that way. You know what I'm saying? So there are all types of like little challenges, leaps and bounds, but it's all about how different and how much do you want to grow. You know what I'm saying, at that point. But yeah, bro, it's definitely interesting.
Wow. I think about art can actually help you, how you're explaining it. It's kind of like basketball too. If somebody is a basketball player and they might be struggling at some point, but they keep going, you learn perseverance.
Yep. You could go 1 for 7, but I bet the next game your numbers might be better.
Yeah,
You're gonna
right.
You're gonna take better shots.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You're gonna get easier shots,
Yeah.
or you're gonna figure out what shot you should be taking. Or you're gonna figure out when you should be taking the shots.
Yeah.
Or if you should be making more plays passing the ball or whatever. But it's all about adjustments, man.
Have you ever devalued your gift?
I mean, deliberately, that's challenging though. That's a good question. I love that question actually. Devalued it as an artist though. It can be difficult to figure out your value and your worth in general, just because. For me, I take it personally. You know what I'm saying? So me coming up with prices, or me figuring out what my time is worth in those cases, I can relate to that.
Okay.
As being a sense of devaluing it, but the effort that I give, never. Nah.
Yeah.
Nah. There'll be times where I'm on a deadline. There's only so much I can do. If I can get it to a point where I feel content about it, then so be it, right?
Okay.
But as far as it's a great question, because you do reach a point in some projects where you just kind of like, man, this ain't really coming together how I want.
Yeah.
Like, what did I like? And then I backtrack a lot. You know what I'm saying? So I usually like to figure out where I went wrong with something, or not even necessarily where I went wrong, but where did I shift the focus from what I should have been in the process.
Wow.
So, yeah, I always find myself, if I'm unhappy with how something's coming along, I can usually troubleshoot it, and I can usually backtrack to a point where I understand that this happened and that's why this is this way. But devalued it deliberately in a sense where I just kind of disregarded, the effort that I put in. Nah, I don't do that, because I feel like it's so much growth within, the lawless act. You know what I'm saying? I consider art, that's what I call it, the lawless act. So I don't ever devalue my efforts, but I do devalue, I guess that's the same thing if you think about it. I do devalue sometimes the profitable aspect of it.
Gotcha.
Because I don't do it for profit, I do it for the love of it. I do it for the therapy of it. So it's hard for me to put a price tag on something like that. But at one point, you got clients, you got to come to some sort of terms and agreement.
Right. Wow. Yeah, like I was saying earlier, I was telling you earlier, I noticed early on that I had that gift of like working with things. Like I would take stuff apart, try to put it back together, hook VCR up, or try to make the cable work from outside. And sometimes I remember it happened at least once. It came on, so I was like, man,
let me find out you was a bootlegging cable kid back in the day, man.
For real. We had the cord outside with that hooked up to the box outside. I just be trying to do something, man, and come back in the house and see if it's home. And, man, at some point, I devalued that gift. I didn't think it was as important. It's not even something that I really enjoy doing. It's just something that I just do, like in general. Like without even thinking about it, I might do that. But it's not like, because at one point I wanted to be a mechanic, but like I don't feel like I want to do that anymore.
Right.
So now I'm like, oh, well, was that really my gift, or is it just something I'm good? You know what I mean? But right now I have a gift with writing music.
Yes, sir.
Working with youth. That's where I find my passion at. You know what I mean?
Yeah. A good friend of mine, Dom Dameron, shout out to him. I had got a project to do, and I just keep it real brief. And I was like, man, I don't know, man. It's hard for me to type up this invoice. I don't know how much I should be investing into this. I mean, you take classes for all that stuff in college, but when you actually like dealing with people one-on-one, it's a little different.
Yeah.
He's like, well, I kind of get it, man, because you got talents and then you got gifts. Talents is something that you can literally do, in any aspect, whether it's profitable or whatever. But a gift, you don't charge people for a gift. You know what I'm saying? Like a gift is something that you give, as pureness. Yeah, as a purity and compassion, you know what I'm saying, as a person. A gift is something that you give people. So That's probably why you struggle to put profit into something that is not a talent. Because if you were talented, I mean, you could do anything with that. But given the fact that it's a gift, it's something that, you know, you take personally. It's something you take pride in. You know what I'm saying? And that's something you rather give. You know what I'm saying, to somebody opposed to charge to them for it. And I was like, that's a good way of putting it. You know what I'm saying?
So, are you currently taking any orders right now? Like, how that's looking?
Right now, I'm a bit busy, but I did just take on a commission. Right now, a guy named Rryuhn Bullis, he runs Life Research Group. Well, I said it right, but he's running this Life Research Group, and he's doing more like I think he's doing a kind of a pod, but it's more like a streaming type of deal.
Okay.
Where it has a backdrop and everything. And he's kind of just speaking over a lot of apologists, activists, civil activists, and, you know, he's doing like a wide range of characters, basically. And he's discussing all these different people in different forms. And I think he's comparing them to back in their society opposed to modern society. I just sat and had a talk with him recently, and he wanted me to do a series of portraits based off of specific characters, like, you know, Frederick Douglass and a bunch of other figures as well. And I took his commission recently, and I think right now I'm only taking so much because, like I said, I like to be intentional when I choose to work on a project from somebody, because I just kind of move that way. Like I said, I'm not really wanting to just crank out a bunch of stuff and not feel good about it. And then I'm also doing a tattoo apprenticeship right now, you know, moving from canvases to papers to scan, you know what I'm saying? And I'm switching my mediums up, you feel me?
Yeah. You talk about that, man. We left that one out a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, it's a process right now, and it's almost like going back to school, but to answer your question, my commissions are open, but I'm only accepting so many things right now, and given the nature of, you know, adulting, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
You got to keep it all in perspective.
Yeah. So, what's your social media handles? How can somebody see your work and get in touch with you if they want you to draw something?
Yeah. Social media is just my first name, Rryuhn or Ryan. You know what I'm saying? I go by either or. And that's Rryuhn, Henry Nancy. You feel me? And that's my Instagram handle. My website is also on there, LinkedIn to the bio, but it's www.doublemyr, you know what I'm saying, .com, DBLMYR.com. And you can reach out to me. There's a lot of work on there. I got prints, you know, just stay connected with me in that way. And then too, my emails, my first and last name, Rryuhn, last name is Dotson, Dotson, and that's at gmail.com. Yeah, man, I'm pretty open to keeping it a whole buck with you as far as any kind of creative advice or, you know, any kind of thing like that. And if I can't do it, I keep it 100 with you on that too. But I do have a lot of people who I work with, close friends and everybody who, you know, are very versatile and accepting to new projects. So, yeah, we could always build in some sort of way.
All right. That was good. Once again, thank you for being on the podcast.
Sir.
Man, it was nice, man, getting to know, you know, a lot of this stuff I didn't know, and, you know, getting to know about the art world a little bit more in the processes, and learn about you.
Hey,
you know.
Hey, we here for it, man. You know, anytime, man. Anytime you need me or anytime you want to, you know, guest me, man, I'm here for it, bro.
All right, I appreciate it. Yeah. All right, y'all get with them. Peace.
Yep.
All right.